Should the Texans run it back with Lovie? Andy Reid says yes. Let's keep this in mind, too. Andy Reid is Lovie Smith's friend. He's David Culley's friend. He probably feels David Culley deserved another year. So that's his word of advice. Let's take that with a grain of salt. We watch every snap of this team. I'm not bragging about it. Sometimes it sucks watching this squad. Anyone who's watched this squad, anyone who knows what the situation was when Lovie Smith was hired, anyone who's watched Lovie Smith coach and knows what type of coach Lovie Smith is, 90, 99-1 in the NFL now, 107, 138-1 lifetime as a head coach. You don't need to run it back with Lovie. Let's be Andy Reid, focus on what you got in Kansas City. Try to get tough enough to make a run.
Try not to mind your business. Keep your eyes on your own paper.
Mind your business. To quote Webby in Savage Life, mind your business.
Yeah.
Okay? Mind your business.
Focus on the Bengals.
Focus on the Bengals. Focus on the playoffs. Focus on getting tougher. Focus on finding ways to run the ball. Focus on your defense. Focus on that type of things. Focus on not wasting Patrick Mahomes and only winning one Super Bowl with him. Let's do that.
Mind your business.
Mind it. Lovie Smith gots to go. I don't care what Andy Reid says, because consider the source in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Stop.
These are tough days to really give your opinion on a guy's career here after they play pretty well. There's no denying they played pretty well the last couple of weeks.
They fought hard.
They played hard. They fought hard. They made some good adjustments. I thought Pep Hamilton had a good day. I really did. Not just implementing the system. No, I think it was silly to put Davis Mills split wide, but whatever. He just used it to somehow thinking that was going to be able to manipulate the defense or whatever. He had a good day, and I think Lovie deserves a lot of credit for the way this team played, having them ready, even though a lot of it is self-imposed or they're motivated on their own. But he deserves credit. The reality is they're 1-12-1. They're last in offense.
Probably more talented than last year.
They're more talented than last year is another factor.
Maybe.
They're last in offense, total offense, last in scoring offense, last in rushing defense, 30th in total defense. You can't defend that. And this entire organization has absolutely no juice. Nothing you can sink your teeth into as a fan.
Andy Reid shouted out Chiefs fans yesterday at the podium.
Yeah.
This was the first thing he did on the road.
Yeah.
Listen, our fans were unbelievable today. I think, we had more fans than maybe what the Texans had, and it was great to see all that red, and I think that helped us with the support down in that overtime.
It did. It was at least 70%, probably more. And that's embarrassing. How many times we've said this in the last couple of weeks I've lost count. But it's about the business of football now. It's about building a team as well with a player and a coach that can elevate that player. We've been talking about Trevor Lawrence. Doug Peterson is the reason he's unlocked, right? He's been unlocked. His game is free now. He's playing at a different level. You bring in a number one overall quarterback with Pep and Lovie Smith. It's not going to be a good. It's not going to end well at all.
No, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to happen.
Right.
By the way, what flowers was Adam Schefter carrying yesterday? These guys do favors for a lot of guys. Like, they're basically puppets. Like, and they're newsbreakers, and then sometimes they put stuff out to where there's a clear agenda when it comes to a lot of these, like, NFL insiders. He brought up, like, the dead money and, like, all the money that owners have been paying coaches, fired coaches. I think they said, like, X millions of dollars, and there was a spreadsheet. What's the point of that?
Ask Adam Spillane. Not my money.
Adam Schefter.
Adam Spillane. It's not my money. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's not my money.
Not my. Figgy does it better than I do. Yeah. Well, what's the purpose of it?
Well, I mean, are we going to do that with players too? Like, what are we trying to do? Are we trying to say don't fire coaches, don't hire bad coaches? Like, what are we saying?
Yeah, and the money matters. No, that's their prerogative. And by the way, that's something that Cal McNair is not afraid to eat that money a little bit on some of these guys, and he should again.
Yeah,
with
I
this.
didn't understand that
Yeah,
at all, like even a little bit. But Lovie Smith, no go,
no go,
no go with Lovie Smith.
none.
Got to move on.
Mm-hmm.
I was asking this yesterday, and I think this is the best way to approach stuff. There's a lot of ways to lay things out when you got to make big decisions. Some think about like the pros versus cons. You list the pros, you list the cons. I want to ask you two questions
Okay.
about two different, very important positions for the Houston Texans. Let's start with the head coach, DeMeco Ryans. If DeMeco Ryans were going to be the next head coach of the Houston Texans, here's what I want to ask you. Why not DeMeco Ryans? And that's the question I think Cal McNair and Hannah McNair should ask, because he's one of the top candidates, and really you should do this with every single candidate. I think every single head coaching candidate you should go through and say
The
why
pros
not?
and the cons, so to speak.
I think if you just focus on the cons,
yeah.
like I know Lovie likes to focus on the positives. I think if you focus on the negatives, a lot of times it can actually showcase the positives even more.
Yeah.
So let's just focus on the negatives, and I want you to answer this question, and you can role play here and just tell me. Why not DeMeco Ryans?
Yeah, I'm going to have to search hard. Because we all know the reasons why, and we've gone through them. But the why not, the only couple things I could think of, and it's an absolute stretch, because I want DeMeco Ryans here. I think it's a no-brainer. Don't overthink it. Don't even worry about going through all the charade of all these candidates coming in. Just interview him, hire the man. That's how I feel. But the only couple things that I would say, if you have to search for a why not, DeMeco Ryans, never been a head coach before, and I don't care. I'm sure you don't care either. But that's a why not.
This is good.
He's never been a head coach before.
I almost don't look at that as a negative.
Yeah. Well, me neither. And the only other one is what a lot of people are saying. He's not Doug Peterson for the new quarterback.
He's not an offensive-minded coach.
Yes, he's not an offensive.
I hear that because I hear a lot of people say I want an offensive-minded coach.
I think
you go.
that could be actually be a positive.
Yeah, because I think he's a new age type of defensive coach. Like Brandon Staley, say what you want about him. Like, has he gotten in the way of Justin Herbert? Like, does he tell them hey, we want to do things this way? Hasn't really happened with the new age guy. But I think it's an interesting exercise. I'm gonna crank it up a notch. Because that was hard.
And by the way, real quick,
that was hard for you.
Real quick, yes, it was.
And I think it speaks volumes that it's hard to say why not. Maybe Nick Caserio has more answers. He knows more than me.
Well, sure.
But I would just ask, if I were Cal and Hannah, when you factor in that he would create a Jeff Saturday buzz, but he has the best resume of any of the current coaches. He's coaching with really good defense, and he comes from a pipeline that works all the time. The why not to me is hard to answer, and I think that's kind of telling.
And by the way,
I'm about to blow your mind, though.
Those are absolute stretches for me, because I actually want, for the next quarterback, his primary coach to not be the head coach. I don't need all that other nonsense. Just focus on the quarterback and the plays and building the offense.
So that was hard, right?
It was.
I think another one is he don't come from their pipeline either.
Okay,
So I
Patriot
think
Way?
Oh, well,
I
that's not a negative.
I think that could be a thing
It
too.
might be for them.
They
Okay.
might not even consider him because he not part of their circle.
John Carroll.
So he might stick around their
New
circle.
England. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. So that was hard, though, right?
Yes.
Now let's do this. Let's ask Nick Caserio to leave the room. Nick Caserio just laid out why not DeMeco Ryans. Okay? Maybe it was easy for him than it was the OG John Lopez. Let's make sure Nick leaves. Nick, thank you very much. All right. Oh, okay. Oh, you going to eat a chicken breast? Okay. All right. Cool, buddy. See you, man. All right.
No
All right,
sauce?
Later. Yeah, later, man. All right.
Dry?
All right.
No seasoning.
Yeah. Wheat toast?
Door closes.
Okay.
Door closes. Nick Caserio gone. Let's do that same exercise with general manager of the Houston Texans. The season's over. We're looking forward. We
Okay.
want to take the next step. We have 3 draft picks in the top 32. We have more cap space. We've gotten through the mud. The Watson cloud is no longer over NRG. Jack Easterby is gone. Let me ask you this about Nick Caserio as general manager. When it comes to getting the Texans where they want to be, why not Nick Caserio? And tell me how much more difficult or how easy it is to answer that.
Well, I think it's easier. to build a case of why not Nick Caserio. Again, this isn't necessarily something I would endorse. But let me go through some that are just popping through my head. I love this exercise, by the way. I like doing things like this. Number one, this would be his third hire of a head coach. That is a negative. It's not a negative for me per se, but it is a negative. The next thing for me, and I know it's probably unfair, but ever since I heard that interview of Jack Easterby sounding almost exactly like Nick Caserio, my second negative would be, how much different really is he?
Okay.
How much different really is he?
You didn't really struggle to answer this question.
None. No, I got more.
Okay.
Than the guy that dismantled the entire organization. Number three would be, we're seeing guys that had no chance of making the team. This is very, timely. Playing pretty dang good football. They had no chance under Nick Caserio because of Rex Burkhead, because of the ties that bind, the ones that Figgy's talking about. If you don't go to John Carroll or drive through New England, there's a good chance that he's not going to give you a fair shake. We're seeing that the John Carroll New England pipeline and biases. There are clear biases in favor of some guys that have that relationship with Caserio.
Anything else?
Anything else, Figgy?
Nah, I think that's it.
What do you got?
Why not Nick Caserio?
Yeah.
I think, how much different is he philosophically than Jack Easterby? I think that's one. I would like to hear why not DeMeco Ryans. I would like to hear why not DeMeco Ryans and what his answer is there. Those are my two biggest questions about him.
And I think he has some we're seeing some biases that are playing out, that he's had some preconceived notions.
Now, are those going to be the same, as expectations grow and talent grows and roster? Who knows? But it is a lot easier. I will say.
Oh, I got another one.
Like, for me, it's a lot easier for me to answer that question than it is the question of why not DeMeco Ryans.
Another one kind of ties in with that biases thing, or at least preconceived notions. How much success have New England people really had?
Assuming that he wants to
outside
hire
of New
a
England.
Yeah, outside of New England.
Yeah, assuming that he has a New England guy. And that's the other thing.
And him.
When's the last time a McVay/Shanahan coach just didn't show some sort of promise?
I'll let
if
you
you're going
know.
to compare that too.
I'll let you know.
Hasn't really happened.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing that I wonder. Here on In the Loop on Sports Radio 6. And by the way, I talked about this a little bit on the Locker Room on YouTube. Subscribe to that. Gonna do a little stream at 3 today. The McNairs have been spending a lot of time with Andre Johnson. Lots.
Yeah.
We know what Andre Johnson said about Jack Easterby. He seems cool with Nick Caserio. What do you think Andre Johnson, his opinion is about Nick Caserio? If they just asked him, like if they were just having a couple of drinks and the McNairs just asked Andre, so what do you think about Caserio? We know how you felt about Easterby, but honestly, and it's just us talking, Andre. What do you think of Nick Caserio? What do you think? What do you think Dre says? I think there's a chance that he says, I like the direction, especially now that Jack's gone. I think there's a chance. But what do you think he really thinks?
You're asking good questions today.
Yeah, I think
you really are,
because I think these are important. Because there's no way that the McNairs are going to the Rockets game with Andre Johnson. They're spending all this time with Andre Johnson,
and it doesn't come up at all.
And they don't ask him anything about the organization.
Yeah.
What do you think he thinks? Because this is a guy. Andre never says. Have you ever heard Andre talk trash? He said what he said about Jack Easterby.
But he's brutally honest.
Yeah, but he said what he said about Jack Easterby. Nick Caserio's still here.
Yeah.
What do you think Andre would say about Nick Caserio if they asked his opinion?
Part of me wants to say that Andre is, understands that Nick Caserio has a solid resume, paid his dues, climbed the ladder, is a football guy. Sorry for the cliche, but he is. But then, and so he respects that. But I think another part of me is Andre is brutally honest. He's one of the best interviews, kind of low key, that you'll ever have because he's sort of low, he speaks low and monotone. But when he starts talking, giving you his opinion, he'll tell you. I think he might say, I like the guy, but I think the guy's earned this spot, but we need fill in the blank. We need a guy that maybe is a little more forward thinking in terms of his connections at head coach and maybe someone tied in with the Shanahans. I think Andre just might do that. He might.
I think these are the questions that need to be asked.